All right, let's talk about your financial future. Do you ever feel like you're just guessing? Well, today we're going to break down the Financial Independence Toolkit. It's a way to stop guessing and start building with a really precise, actionable blueprint.
So let's just jump right in. The whole idea here is to stop thinking about your financial future as some big, fuzzy dream and start treating it like an engineering project. We're not just hoping for the best, we are literally building a powerful engine to get us where we want to go, and we're using a clear blueprint to do it. In this quote, right here, this is the key. It's a total mindset shift. It's about getting away from all that vague, kind of scary financial jargon and turning it into a problem we can actually solve. A problem with clear inputs and clear outputs. So, here's our game plan. We're going to walk through the whole four-stage blueprint from the toolkit and see exactly how this engine gets built, step by step.
Okay, first things first, building your financial engine. Before we dive into all the nitty-gritty, let's just get a bird's eye view of what we're actually putting together. And trust me, this isn't random, it's a super logical, sequential process.
And yeah, this lays it out perfectly. It all flows in order. You've got your budget, that's the fuel for the engine. Then your risk tolerance, think of that as the throttle. Those two things combine to give you the equation, which tells you your destination. And from there, you build the plan, your roadmap to get there. All right, let's get into stage one.
All right, stage one, fueling your plan. This is all about the budget. I mean, it's pretty simple, right? Every engine needs fuel to run. For this financial engine we're building, your budget is that fuel. It's the absolute foundation for everything that comes next. And here's the thing. The toolkit doesn't want some rough guess. No, it makes you go through everything, category by category. We're talking housing, food, fun, the whole deal, to figure out exactly what it costs for you to live the life you want. That level of detail is what makes the whole plan actually work. So you add up all those little things, your rent, your coffee, that trip you want to take, and they all boil down to this one single, super important number. This is your annual fuel requirements. For this example, that number is $78,600 a year. Okay, so we've got our fuel. Now it's time for stage two, calibrating the throttle. We know how much fuel we need, but now we got to decide how fast we're going to burn it. And that is all about your personal risk tolerance. In our little engine analogy, that's your throttle. And this is where things get really cool, because it's so different from your typical rate your risk on a scale of 1 to 10 quiz. The toolkit totally ditches those fuzzy labels like conservative or aggressive. Instead, it asks you about real-life situations. Like, would you actually invest in a risky startup? What about quitting your stable job for one that pays more but is way less secure? It's trying to figure out how you really feel about risk, not just what you think you should say. And I love this visual because it shows exactly what's happening. It's literally taking your feelings, your subjective answers to those questions, and funneling them down into cold, hard math. It synthesizes all that squishy human stuff into one single definitive number. And that number is what we call your cash flow ROI. So what is that? It's the target return your investments need to hit every year to cover all your expenses. This is your throttle setting. The higher the percentage, the harder you're pushing that throttle. All right, moving on to stage three, defining your destination. So, quick recap, we have our fuel, that's our annual expenses. We have our throttle setting, our cash flow ROI. Now, we get to put them together and figure out exactly where we're going. And look, the equation itself is beautifully simple. You just take your annual expenses and divide it by that cash flow ROI we just figured out. And boom, that gives you your financial independence number, or what the toolkit calls your FIN. And there it is, $436,667. That's your FIN, your financial independence number. And the important thing to get here is that this isn't just some random number we pulled out of the air. No, this is the exact amount of income-producing assets you need to live the life you want forever, based on your specific comfort with risk. Think of it like a seesaw or a balance scale, like you see here. This is basically the fundamental law of our financial engine. The two sides have to stay in balance. So if you're willing to crank up the throttle, take on more risk for a higher cash flow ROI, you actually need less weight on the other side. You can get to your destination with a smaller pile of assets. Which brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, stage 4, mapping your route. So we have our destination. It's a real concrete number. Now the last step is to just reverse engineer the plan to actually get there. And the way to think about this part is like a machine with 3 big levers you can pull.
You've got the amount of money you invest, the amount of time you have, and the ROI you expect to get. To get to your fin, you just have to play with these three levers. They all work together.
And that's the cool part. There isn't just one single path to your destination. The toolkit lets you model a bunch of different routes, depending on which of those levers is most important to you. Let me show you what I mean. So you get to pick your own adventure, basically. Are you the savers type? You can fix the timeline and the ROI, and it'll tell you exactly how much you need to save. Maybe you're the impatient type. You can tell it how much you can save, and it'll tell you how fast you can get there. Or maybe you're aggressive. You can lock in your savings and timeline, and it'll tell you what kind of ROI you have to go out and find. Each one is a different route, but they all lead to the same destination. Okay, let's pull back and look at the whole thing, the completed blueprint. We're going to see how every single piece connects, from the very first thing we did all the way to a final actionable plan. And here it is, the whole journey on one flowchart. It just lays out the entire logical chain so clearly. You see how your monthly expenses turn into your annual fuel, how your feelings about risk become a hard number for your ROI throttle, how those two things create your destination, your fin, and how that number, combined with your timeline, spits out the exact amount you need to invest every single year. For this person, it's $9,177. So, at the end of the day, that's what this whole toolkit does. It just demystifies the entire process. It gives you a crystal clear, math-based, totally personalized plan. But here's the catch. It provides the blueprint. The actual execution? Well, that's all on you.
And that really leaves us with this final thought, right? Once you take a big, fuzzy dream, like financial independence, and turn it into a concrete engineering problem, it stops being about getting lucky. It just becomes a matter of execution. So, you have the blueprint. The only question left is, what are you going to build?